Hello and welcome to March to the Pod, presented by Eternal Roofing. This is season 3, episode 32, 134 total episodes. We're talking baseball, Vegas win totals. We're going to go around the farm. We got some interesting things to discuss today. You would think with it getting close to off season, we wouldn't have a lot, but we got some fun things to discuss. I'm Cory Hogue, your host, producer, once banned member at catfans.com, and now permanently banned from X Twitter and possibly a recreation baseball league. We'll get into that in a minute. Find me on Facebook and other social media channels not named Twitter at Cory Hogue Sports, CoryHogue Sports. I'm joined by the co-host, analyst, and real ball knower of this podcast, the man behind at Sports of SHSU on Twitter and Instagram, and proud Bearkat alum, Ben Sorrells. And Ben, we haven't talked a lot about the Space Cowboys.
Now we are.
We're good. We got some things to talk about, and it doesn't involve Iowa Park. Okay, so it's last night was the start of playoffs for the league, and we were the number 8 seed. You know my theory. Right. I'm not worried about winning games. I'm worried about getting kids that want to play, developing them. When we go to the draft to select, I listen more for parents, draft based off of parents more than anything else. It's been a very enjoyable season. Really. The kids have been great. The parents are great. But the last few games, as we continued to show that we were better and starting to push the top teams in the league and give them fits, some of the grown-ups didn't appreciate that very much and would try to pull rule antics or something crazy to try to get out or whatever it was, right? So last night, we're playing the top team in the league. And by the way, this is a team that they're really good. And I was hoping they wouldn't put their best pitcher in, and they didn't. It gave us a chance early on. So we have the bases loaded. We have 6 runs. You get a max of 7 in an inning. We got 6 runs. We got the bases loaded, 2 outs. Umpire rules our guy gets hit by the ball. And he's going to first. I stop him halfway because it's 7 runs. We're going back and changing out, right? And the other team left the field and come back on and tried to do an appeal. And so the umpire comes and tells me that last run didn't count because they appealed. He didn't touch first base.
Oh.
And at this point, I was like, no. It was a dead ball. It does not matter. He got hit by the pitch. You can't just appeal that, which I know when I'm arguing this that I'm probably wrong. I have a good idea about baseball rules, right? But I also am going to fight for my team regardless. It doesn't matter if I'm right about the rule or wrong. At the time, I don't want these kids that have put in so much work and all this to lose a run over some dude who wants to pull out some stinking rule, right? And apparently, I don't know. But anyway, so as that, then the umpire tells me, okay, you keep your run. We'll contact the board after the game. Like, that's going to matter because they can't do anything about it after the game. And then and all that. So he goes to the other coach. The other coach sits there and doesn't agree. So now I'm over there and I'm trying to get him right. I'm like, hey, why does he keep arguing? What's going on? And he's like, it's about the rules. I was like, you don't know the rules. You appealed. You can't appeal. Like, we start going at each other, right? And he's like, you're mad. I was like, no. What's wrong with you, man? It's 10U kids. These are 10U kids. What are you trying to prove? Right. We're going back and forth. So I walk down the baseline because I'm ready to let it go and move on with the game. And he turns around and starts chirping at me again from the third base coaching box. And we're in the third base dugout. And at that point, I turned around. And for those who don't know me, I have the ability to yell extremely loud. My voice projects anyway. And when I yell, it echoes. And it echoed last night. The words were, why don't you just drop it and let us play some baseball? the tone was not the best because I yelled. Frustrated. So the umpire's like, no more yelling. I was like, okay, no, I get that. Right? And then I said something else, and he turned, he goes, Coach, that's enough. And I knew I umpired before. I know that's the end, right? But as Ron White once said, I had the right to be quiet. I did not have the ability at that time. And I turned around and said, it didn't seem to matter when he was arguing all the time. And that's when I got run. I was ejected from the 10U baseball game. Never said a curse word. Didn't say anything actually untoward. But if I was the umpire, I would have run me too. Right? That's how it is. This same coach, after I'm ejected, comes up and with some sort of fake line. Now, mind you, I saw half an inning in this game. I was ejected in before the bottom of the first began. So this coach, apparently in the top of the second, they come up with some fake lineup. Listen, I'm a baseball guy. I use actual baseball lineup cards, and I pass them out to everybody, umpire, coaches, everyone gets one because I don't want there to be, I know how people like to play rules games and stuff, right? And sure enough, this guy tries to bring one out on like notebook paper, doesn't even have our kids' right names. Only 2 of the numbers were right on it. And it's not, look, our last names are on the back of the jerseys. It's not that hard. It's really not. Now, I use first names in my lineup card. See, anyway, they try to they do that because they want to get the easy outs without even having to. Now, mind you, this is the best team in the league. And they had already put in one of their good pitchers, right? We weren't going to win. We weren't. And we didn't. We lost 14-7. And that's okay. Did have a conversation today with a member of the board because, ejected coaches, you have to. I don't have any other punishment. I'm not suspended a game further or anything like that for it. But they are investigating that lineup thing. And I've heard this guy is a state trooper, which would not surprise me. He's kind of got that demeanor. And the absolute unsportsmanlike nature to develop your own lineup to try to get easy outs in a 10U rec league game. Let me tell you, Ben, if I hadn't been run at the end of the top of the first, I would have been run when that fool pulled that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and just calling for an appeal in that situation is just a little too much at the 10U age.
We've had games this year where coaches have called board members on the phone during the game about rules. And the rule they're arguing is whether they get to extend the game to run the score up on us.
Oh, my gosh.
Because they want to help their playoff seeding. Like, this is the kind of stuff. And the frustration's been growing, and it's funny because, after the game, I apologize, right? I was wrong. And that's just how it is. I know I was wrong. I was wrong to get it. I'm not happy that I got ejected, right? Like, that's not cool. But some of my parents were like, no, it's about time. It's about time you stood up and did something.
I know.
and I hate that, right? Because we have got the best kids, the sweetest kids. And I just hate watching adults try to bully kids for no darn reason.
No point in it. It's not worth it.
Adults ruin kids' baseball for the kids and the coaches.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
And that was one of my things to the board member when he called me. So our season's over. That's fine. It wouldn't have mattered much anyway for there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when they look into this lineup stuff. But for the only time this season, you heard about the Space Cowboys. And by the way, why were we not going to win? Because we threw 26% strikes. We didn't have pitching.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's even lower than Sam Houston.
That's way lower.
Sam Houston actually threw some strikes this weekend, though. I
figured it up earlier in the season when it looked like it was getting about, and they were still at 60% like as a staff, which is really good. 60% is good. You can live with 60%. 26% isn't going to win you many games.
No.
We would get one ball, 2 strikes. We couldn't find a third strike, and it was not to do with practice or whatever. We were third graders. And if we weren't third grade, we'd never played baseball before.
Yeah.
Which are the kids I like to have, right? Because we get better. That team we played last night, second game of the season, beat us 14-0, and it was not even funny.
Progress.
Second time we played them, it was 14-5. Last night it was 14-7.
There you go.
When we scored 7 runs in the top of the first inning, that coach was obviously trying to find ways to get things on his side, which is freaking crazy to me. It's 10U baseball, man. Jeez.
Hopefully he's not listening to this podcast. Hopefully he's not a Sam Houston fan.
Oh, I hope he's listening. You come at me all you want. You're not going to win. That's just how it is. Like, you don't irritate me none. And by the way, he's like, you were wrong. No, it should never have counted, because once you leave the foul line, once all of your players and the pitcher, which the rule says leaves the foul line, you cannot appeal that play before. So anyway, we still kept the run. So I won in the end of the day, right? I won that run back. And so at the end, I feel like I won. But I also feel I'm very disappointed in myself because I don't like to get ejected from 10U baseball.
No, not at all.
We have real things to talk about with Sam Houston coming up. We are going to talk more baseball, but it's the Cats this time. And a really important question that I have for Ben towards the end of this next segment. That comes after a word from our friends at Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing and General Contracting is your choice for integrity work in the Texas Hill Country. Taylor Andrus and crew provide experienced quality roofing services with a mission of roofing with faith, serving with integrity, and sheltering homes in the spirit of stewardship. Don't just take our word for it. Here's what satisfied customer Pamela Allen had to say about Eternal Roofing. They did a great job on our patio roof, came out quick for a quote. The quote was very reasonable, and they started and finished work well and quickly. Not a bad thing to say about Eternal Roofing. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email them taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
For the second time this year, we get to play this one. A severe
2 more than last year.
Ooh, yes, I think 2 more than last year.
Well, no, I think they got 1. They swept Liberty at home last year, now that I think about it.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Old Delaware came into town last week, and the Cats took care of them 13-2 in 7 innings on Friday night. Ryan Peterson, in his last home start, was outstanding. In fact, the starting pitching all weekend, again, as it has been, the top 3 starting pitchers have been solid on this club. They won Saturday and Sunday 5-4 and 8-1, and that was a very needed, because that ensured, combined with other results around the conference, the Cats secured their spot in the Conference USA tournament. That, Ben, is very important.
Huge. And there's a lot of seeding implications that are still in play as things stand now. I mean, you could be anywhere from 6 seed to 9 seed, and the fact that you're in contention for a 6 seed, I mean, it's progress.
Yeah, see, I got questions about this 6 seed and how, I got questions about this weekend.
There's a lot to play out. Yeah. Well, and the whole midweek thing, it doesn't, and we'll get into that too, I'm sure.
Well, it's not even so much that they lost to Houston Christian last night. They lost 4-3 to Houston Christian. It was what Jay Sirianni said to Sam Houston Sports Talk after the game that I want to talk about. Let's listen to what he said. It's a little over 2 minutes.
There's a lot of missed opportunities, and we kind of shot ourselves in the foot a little bit. But again, it's kind of set going into the tournament, right? I mean, we've got to get ready for La Tech this weekend. Number 1, number 2, get ready for the weekend in Atlanta. And it's a great opportunity to compete tonight. kind of left it out there with not much to show for it.
What was the message to the bullpen? Like these past 4 games, they seem to be catching their groove a little bit.
You know, it's just kind of how it goes offensively. It kind of goes that same way with bullpen guys. You know, they've all pitched a bunch. Everybody hits a lull here and there. Everybody kind of gets going again. So you just try to keep putting the puzzle pieces together. I thought we did all right out of the bullpen tonight. I really did.
Caleb Gardner was really starting to come on hot on the right side for you guys. Just some things you liked out of him as of late, and some things you want to see out of him going into La Tech and between.
Yeah, I mean, for Cotty, it's all about controlling that strike zone and staying in the moment. You know, if the moment gets big on him, he chases one there and with the guy at third, and it's like, if he can stick to himself and stay within his abilities, he's a really good player, really good. But I think, after getting banged up a little bit, that little break helped him too. Just kind of hit the reset button and kind of get going again.
Talked about the bullpen over these last 4 games. Have any arms kind of stuck out to you as kind of surprise arms here late?
Well, Cade Neuenschwander's done a good job here. Connor Mundy's done a good job. Some of these guys are kind of adrenaline junkies. That's kind of what we call them. But, just putting them in that right moment, that right role to go in, empty the tank, and get out of there has kind of been what we've tried to do versus stretching those guys out. So we've tried to shrink their outings a little bit more, and they've responded to it.
Is the rotation going to be managed a little differently since they're all going to be on one less day of rest, or is it the same as usual?
Yeah, Petey will still go on Thursday. It'll be a pitch count thing. Ty is fighting some soreness right now, so we might have to move some adjustments there. But it is all about making sure we're ready to go in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That last 25, 30 seconds is what concerns me this weekend, Ben.
Yeah, you're fighting for seeding. Ryan Peterson on a pitch count, which makes sense. But Tyler Ryden dealing with soreness is concerning because he is your number 2 starter now. He's been the guy as the number 2 this season. And you need all the depth and length you can get to try to go win a conference tournament. So it definitely is concerning to hear whatever that soreness is. Hopefully it is just soreness. But typically when you're talking about pitchers, it's not a good thing.
It feels to me like this team, and we've seen this team, they've been up and down. It's been a roller coaster all year, right? They've been really good. They've been really bad. Some of that, I think, is focus. And I don't know that the focus is there. It just, when your head coach is talking about Atlanta and the conference tournament, instead of trying to get a better seed, I feel like you've kind of already wrote this weekend away.
A little bit, yeah. And on the focus side, too, with the midweeks, I feel like we've heard 2 or 3 times, we're playing for the weekend, when it should be a holistic view. I mean, you should, and I know you're not competing for an at-large spot like maybe you were a few years ago, but, I mean, these midweek games still count. You want to win these midweek games. You don't kind of just want to throw them away. I mean, these are games that we want to win and should win with this kind of program.
You are playing. Listen, this is not negative in any sort of way to the Southland Conference, but it's the Southland Conference. And you've been there, right? Sam Houston's been there. You cannot take it for granted. You should win every one of those games, whether it be Houston Christian or Lamar, whoever it is. You should win UTRGV. You should win those games. You are supposed to be a tier above those teams, and losing those games. Listen, I think, in my opinion, it truly hurts when it comes to recruiting, because in a large way, you seem to still be recruiting against those same Southland teams.
Well, it's a conference you used to dominate too.
Yes.
And I mean, you're clearly not right now. I mean, you lost to UTRGV, lost both to Houston Christian, or you split with Houston Christian, lost both to Lamar. You took 2 or 3 from McNeese. So, I mean, based on those results, I mean, right now you're kind of a middle of the pack Southland team. And the Southland has gotten better over the past few years, but it's still a conference that you play 8 or 9 games, you should go 6-2, 7-2 against.
So, an important question. Because, see, I wouldn't be surprised they go get swept by La Tech.
it's not a place that's treated you well either. I mean, even the team that was good 2 years ago had a terrible time there.
Well, and if you're not going in there with a chip on your shoulder, you're going to get run.
Yeah, they're
playing
really
well too, by the way. They're really hot.
They started the year rough. They were like 1-5 to start conference play, and they've really been on the heater the past 6-7 weeks.
They have. They found it. They've brought it together. So now you're stepping in there a little bit injured, and I get, look, the soreness, I'm with you. That's concerning because soreness, that could be season ending, right? It just can be. So I am as concerned about and you don't want to push him, right? I was reading a book called The Arm by Jeff Passan, and over 50% of Dr. James Andrews' Tommy John surgeries a few years ago were teenage kids.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous what we're doing to arms. So no, you don't want to just throw him. You want to hopefully he's well. Hopefully the soreness is just something muscular, can get under control, and he comes back.
We should get the
probable. You're in trouble because you don't have pitching depth.
Yeah, we should get the probables tonight or tomorrow morning because the series starts tomorrow. It goes Thursday through Saturday this week. So it'll be interesting to see if he shows up on that second game.
I put probables in the same as I put depth chart for football.
Well, I would say Sam Houston's actually been pretty honest. When they don't know the starter, they put TBA. If a guy's on there, they start. So if there's TBA on there, then I'll be concerned.
And I ain't gonna lie, I'd put TBA anyway because we just gave a TBA answer last night, right? I wouldn't want La Tech to know, but okay. So they've made the conference. They've secured their bid, regardless of what happens this weekend at La Tech.
Oh, it just came out. I just got the email. Let's see what we have.
There it is. We're breaking probable news right here.
TBA on Friday, so no Tyler Ryden.
Well, hopefully he's ready to go before the tournament. We wish that man well, no doubt. So, and of course, landscaping shows up. As the biggest question I have, does this Conference USA tournament bid keep Jay Sirianni's job safe for another season?
Yeah, I talked to two people yesterday. It sounds like it is. It does not sound like Bobby Williams is going to make a move. The more I hear about this incoming recruiting class, the more I get excited about it. And you really only graduate 3 seniors. Only one of them really played. So you can kind of pick and choose the guys you want back. The money coming into the baseball program as of the last few weeks, you can retain almost anyone you want. So from what it sounds like, he will get at least another year. So I believe making the conference tournament will get him another year. And like I said, the goal this year was to at least double the win total. You're 1 win away from that. You got to have a feeling you grab one against Louisiana Tech or in the conference tournament, double the win total, and then you need another 12-win improvement next year. You need to get back up to 35 to 40 wins. But you did it. You doubled it this year, and then the expectation next year is you need to make another leap. Yeah,
no, they've already doubled it this year, right? Like that's just regardless if you win that one extra game to 100% do 12 times 2, you have doubled your win total. Personally, how do you feel about his job being safe?
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that the program's gotten here is certainly disappointing. And I think last year was worthy of possibly making a move. But I think if you gave him this year, you got to see out the 2-year process because it was never going to go from 12 wins to 40. So I think the fact that you're keeping him this year is fine by me, but I would have been fine last year making a move, but you clearly didn't. So I think you got to play out this 2-year process.
I think Jay Sirianni made a hire last year that not only saved his job for this year, but may be the key that's turned this program back around with this recruiting class that people keep talking about. And the person I'm talking about is David Wood. That man gets it.
Yeah, and great advocate for the university. Have heard so many good things about him. Obviously, I don't know if this recruiting class was as good as maybe it should have been, but he got here late in the cycle, has put together a really good class for this next year. And I think he's a guy that brings the juice and the energy this program needs. I mean, not that your head coach has to be, a big energy guy. And Jay really isn't that, and that's fine. He doesn't have to be, but he just brings that juice to the program that I think they desperately need.
I agree. I have been really impressed with Coach Wood, and I'm really, that was a very smart hire.
Yeah,
And it, listen, everyone's got egos, right? And of course Sirianni's got an ego, but to know you need to bring that guy in, the guy who to help your team, shows he could put a lot of that aside as well. And so credit to him for that hire. And I think that's the thing that's probably saved his job more than anything else.
Yeah, with the guys that Coach Wood brought in. And speaking of next year's recruiting class, just to highlight one of the guys, Hagen T. Arena was named, I think it was the Region 14 JUCO Relief Pitcher of the Year. I've heard there's a chance he gets drafted, but he sounds like he might be like the true closer next year. He's 6'6", 230, had I think an 11 Ks per 9 at the JUCO level this last year. 6'6" lefty that sits in the mid 90s. I mean, he's just one of many guys coming in next year that looks really promising.
That's good, right? But that ain't like 13.2 like I've done on MLB The Show.
You're right.
But no,
come on, Hagen.
I know, right? In Region 14, that's a good one. That's a Texas conference. That is a tough, always in every sport. If you got Texas JUCOs, you've got a lot of talent, and that's only one that we have to talk about. We got a lot more stuff coming up to discuss, including Vegas, and the ESPN SP Plus has been putting out projected win totals. How do they see the conference? That's coming up soon.
Yeah.
But first, if you're enjoying the show, help us grow by rating and reviewing the podcast. March to the pod on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to our Substack page at marchtothepod.substack.com and on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Find us by searching for @MarchToThePod. Remember, it's the number 2, March to the pod. We're also proud members of the CUSA Podcast Roundtable, with shows covering all 12 Conference USA programs, which will soon move to 10, and that's all we're focusing on. Next, we got win totals, and what do we agree? I also have something that's going to surprise you when we come back from this message from Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing only uses the finest materials in the roofing business while providing an exceptional warranty. Why do they use CertainTeed products? Because they complement any appearance, provide exceptional and reliable strength, and are known for their enduring performance. Here's what Shane Sosa had to say about Eternal Roofing. Taylor and his team are amongst the highest level of professionals. They care about their customers and go above and beyond just doing the job. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539 or email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Okay, so earlier I told you the story about my ejection from the 10U. It's really hard to say it without laughing. My ejection from the 10U baseball game. What's funny is, and what's going to surprise you and probably a lot of people listening to the show, is that when I was talking to the board member, he said he told the umpire, you just threw out one of the nicest coaches in the league. How bad are the coaches?
My goodness.
That's horrible, man.
Very.
Woo-wee. Anyway, I thought that would surprise you. And especially considering we're about to come up talking football win totals, I can understand why people would be surprised that I'm one of the nicest coaches in the league.
Yeah.
But we got it. Vegas put it out. So let's take a look at it here. What do they have? If you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, first off, thank you. Second, you can see what Vegas has put up for their regular season wins for the Cats. Over 2.5 wins, minus 195. Under 2.5 wins, plus 150. Over 3.5 wins, plus 120. Under 3.5, minus 150. Over 4.5 wins, plus 260. under 4.5 wins minus 360. So let me break this down for those of you who are not gambling addicts like myself. Over 2.5 minus 195. If you've got a minus number, that means Vegas believes that's happening. And they believe it to the tune that you would have to spend $195 to win 100 if you think that the Cats are going to win 3 games over 2.5. If you think they're not getting the 3 wins this year and they're stuck at the 2, you're going to win $150 on your 100. Let's go up to the next one. Over 3.5 wins. So do the Cats get 4 wins? Vegas says, it's close. If you bet 100, you win 120. That's pretty close for Vegas. Under 3.5 wins, though, they believe that's possible. You bet 150 to get 100 if you think they get 3 wins, which means the football team, by Vegas' standards, will improve by 1 win this season. If you want to go over 4.5 plus 260, if you think the Cats are going to make 5 wins, you could get $260 for your $100 bet. If you bet that they're winning 4 and below, Vegas is going to make it hard for you to win money. You got to bet $360 to win $100. I hope that makes sense to all of you listening. Ben, I'm going to say that Vegas thinks 3 wins is the number this year for the Cats.
Yep.
I'm not sure you're going to agree with that.
No, I don't. My favorite bet here would probably be over 3.5. I don't know if I would push it to over 4.5, but I feel really good about the over 3.5. And I know I said last week, I feel like this is a 5 or 6 win team. I'm not going to put really any money on that, but I would feel pretty good about the over 3.5 at plus money. That's probably my favorite one.
You have been far better about understanding how they are than I have. And this is why people are going to be surprised that I'm the nice coach in the league. I have a hard time yet with it. And it's because that offensive line we talked about last week. I think 3, maybe 4 wins is about what this team's going to max out at right now.
Yeah, see, I look at it as Nichols should be a free win. I feel really good about getting a win against Middle Tennessee and New Mexico State at home. I feel like those 3 are locks in my mind. I really feel like there's a way we could grab probably 2, maybe 3 more. You know, like Missouri State sticks out there, a program going through a huge transition. I think FIU could be gettable. I think Tulsa, with the atmosphere that's going to be there for the first Bowers game, could be gettable. So, like I said, I really feel good about over 3.5. I feel like there's a guaranteed 3 wins, and you're going to steal at least 1 more somewhere. I could see you winning 1 to 3 more, but I think there's 3 guaranteed wins on the schedule in my eyes right now.
Okay, well, I'm not going to jump on the Tulsa bandwagon, right? Like,
no,
I'm not jumping on that one.
It's a gettable game, though.
Possibly. Let's go and look at what they say for Conference USA champion odds. And this is kind of basically, this is Vegas putting out their prediction poll, right? Let's take a look what they have to say. And on the championship prediction poll, you have Liberty the favorite plus 260. So as we go through this, let me remind you, if you bet $100 on Liberty to win, you win 260. Just keep that in mind. I'm not going to say it for every team because every team is plus higher odds than Liberty. They got Liberty first, plus 260. Western Kentucky, plus 280. Pretty close top 2. Do you agree with that?
I would probably have Liberty third. I think their name value carries a little more weight than what their roster is. I'd probably go WKU, Jack State, Liberty. But, I mean, who knows at this point?
Well, they have Jack State third, plus 450. Delaware fourth, plus 700. Does that one surprise you?
Not really, honestly. We saw Delaware. I mean, they were good last year in their first year at the FBS level, and I think they're top 10 in the country in retention. Bring their quarterback back. So, I mean, it does not surprise me that they are towards the top. Maybe 1 spot too high, but I would have had them in my top 5.
We know Ryan Carty can coach. We know that's a fact.
They can score.
They can score. Kennesaw State is predicted 5th, plus 1,000. FIU 6 plus 1,100. And you think FIU is a winnable game this year?
I think it's winnable. I think it's a toss-up. I don't think we'd be the favorite, but it is the last game of the season. You never know what the circumstances are going to be. I think the three very winnable games are New Mexico State, Missouri State, Middle Tennessee.
Well, I think the odds here would agree with you with that. It looks to me, I would say there are three distinct tiers according to Vegas. Liberty, WKU, Jack State, Delaware is in one tier. Kennesaw, FIU is in another tier. And then you've got everyone else. New Mexico State's a plus 2,500. Missouri State's a plus 2,800. That's a lot. Now, you win $2,800 on a $100 bet. You're pretty happy. You're going out to eat well.
Yeah, very well.
Middle Tennessee plus 5,500. The team they have, let me not go straight country. The team they have last is Sam Houston plus 8,000. If you believe the Cats are going to win the conference championship this year, and you're willing to put $100 on it, and they do, you win $8,000. Plus, you get your 100 back.
Yeah. And I mean, I get why Vegas does that. I mean, they probably don't follow the league and conference as close as people like us do. Personally, if I was us, I would probably have us at 7 or 8 in the odds, and that kind of lines up with the 2 or 3 wins I was talking about in conference play that I feel really good about, along with Nichols. But I mean, it's very good value on Sam Houston if you want to place that outright bet.
It's outstanding value right there. So, and by the way, I agree with you that Vegas does not follow this league because it doesn't bring in the money. You want to go, do not, unless you are 100% sure, start putting money on Power 4 teams.
Yeah.
They are really good with that. But where I have always found a way to maybe do well against Vegas has been in the group of 5, group of 6 leagues.
Yeah. Well, and like last year, Kennesaw State. I mean, I can't imagine what their odds were coming into the year.
Yeah, I don't remember.
A lot. I mean, they were probably plus 3,000, somewhere around there would be my guess.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. I don't doubt that. So, ESPN SP Plus win totals. Let's take a look at. And what you see here, these are spring projections from the ESPN SP Plus, game by game. In order, Liberty is, I don't know why they didn't put them in average wins order here. Liberty 8.3, Jack State 7.8, WKU 7.4, Kennesaw 7.1, FIU 6.2. That right there is 5 teams making a bowl game this year, Ben.
Yeah, and 6 if you round Delaware up.
If you round them up, they're 5.7. New Mexico State 5, Missouri State 3.9, Middle Tennessee State 3, and Sam Houston 2.8 wins. So let's get into some of this first. Liberty, I want to look at Liberty because you said you think they're a little overrated. At James Madison, that's not a win.
No.
Gardner-Webb better be a win. Ball State, is Ball State that bad?
Apparently.
Jeez. At Coastal Carolina, that should not be a win. At Delaware?
No. That's a toss-up to me.
Yeah. And I think I would say 4.1 maybe is toss-up range. Sam Houston, they think they beat Sam Houston by 22 points.
No. I mean, no, there's no. Our team last year wouldn't lose by 22.
Here's where this one is a surprise. At Kennesaw is a toss-up at 0.4.
I feel like that is a toss-up game between those two teams, yeah.
They think they beat FIU pretty easily, New Mexico State on the road. I don't disagree with those two. They beat Middle Tennessee. Western Kentucky, they think that it's easier to beat. It's harder to beat Western Kentucky at home for Liberty than at Kennesaw.
Yeah, or at Coastal.
Yes, or at Coastal.
Yeah, and they've got them at 8.3. I think my projection would have them maybe like 6.5. That Coastal, WKU, and Kennesaw game, I mean, they're all toss-ups. Delaware, too.
I think 7. I can see 7. I can see Gardner-Webb, Ball State, Sam Houston, FIU, New Mexico, Middle Tennessee, Missouri State, right? Like I could see those being wins. 7 sounds right to me.
Right. But that puts them third in the league kind of thing.
Probably, yeah. And WKU has Mercyhurst, which we got other things to talk about in the next segment. We're going to talk money and financials in the next segment. And we see what's paid to these FCS teams. Mercyhurst, they are making money this next year is all I'm going to say about it.
They're playing a lot of FBS games.
They are. They were all over that list that came out from Sam Herder and Hero, FCS Hero Sports, I believe it is. Yep. Sam Houston, let's take a look at what they have. They have them at 2.8 wins, which how you do that, I don't know. That doesn't make any darn sense to me. Starting at Troy, minus 22. Meh. Okay.
You know you're not going to win it. I feel like it'd probably be 14-17.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with 22, though. You're at Troy. It's not supposed to be a win. Tulsa at home, minus 16. They don't give Sam Houston any hope of that game.
No. That's one I feel like maybe you're not favored, but you're, 3-4 point underdog, not 16.
FCS Nichols, you don't win that game, and you need a new head coach.
Yeah, like things get ugly if that happens.
Minus 51 at Texas Tech. No way. No.
Not winning that one, unfortunately.
Well, you're not going to win it, but you're not losing by if you're not losing by 50. They're not that bad, right? Like 28, 25, 30.
Yeah, hopefully it's not like what Texas was last year, which was like 52-0.
Texas Tech is not Texas, although they do have a lot of money. Cody Campbell's dishing out some dough around there.
He is.
That softball team's a whole lot of money for not being a top 8 seed.
Yeah.
At Liberty, expected to lose by 3 touchdowns. I don't think they're that bad against them. Western Kentucky at home, you're not losing by 3 scores, in my opinion, at home to Western Kentucky. New Mexico State, a touchdown favorite in Huntsville. Here's my thing. I feel like some of these projections, and while I'm not necessarily high on the Cats this year, I think 4 to 5 wins is possible. But I think some of these projections are acting like Bauer Stadium's never coming back.
Right. And you had a coach that was 3 weeks late on the recruiting cycle. And I mean, this is a completely different team. And even last year's team, was in a lot of these games. They weren't, they lost some of them bad, but they were in a lot of these and the margins weren't 22, 21, 22 kind of thing.
Phil Longo is not a terrible coach. He is not. That's what I'm saying. General Sam said they acted like we back at Shell. Yeah, I agree.
Well, even if we were at Shell, I still think this team could win 4 or 5 games.
Well, I don't really want to talk about that because I didn't like being at Shell. So let's not remember those things. But again, look, Phil Longo's not a bad coach. He had a lot of things against him last year.
Right.
And he has a pretty good staff. I think the year has helped. I was not a fan necessarily of the hire, as we know, and I was not a fan of last year. That does not mean that he's not going to be a guy who can get things going in the right direction, at least this year. And I think 4 wins is very doable for this team. I don't see them losing at a touchdown to New Mexico State at home. Come on. At Missouri State, a 10-point favorite for Missouri State? No.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
We should be favored at a minimum for Nichols, New Mexico State, and Middle Tennessee. At a minimum, and pretty close with Missouri. I'd put Missouri State probably field goal range. Right, yeah. And that's one I think is very gettable for us.
I would put Jack State and Liberty at probably a 10-point range.
Yeah.
They have it at 21.1 for Jack State on the road, which I get. It's on the road. Kennesaw at home. They think the Owls win by 2 touchdowns in Huntsville. No, I do not.
No, and
maybe
it's one
touchdown, maybe half that.
Yeah, I was going to say it's another one where it's probably, maybe you're a 4-point underdog at home.
It feels like all of these, I would think about half of what it's showing.
Right.
So Troy, 12. Tulsa, 8-point favorites.
Yep.
Texas Tech, 26-point favorite. Liberty, 11-point favorite. Western Kentucky, 9-point favorite. New Mexico State, you're an underdog. New Mexico State's going to be a favorite by 3.5 points. Missouri State, 5. Jack State, 11. Kennesaw, 7. Middle Tennessee, that's the other real projected win. I know it says 2.8, but they don't have a 0.8 on here. They only have 2 wins, and one's Middle Tennessee. It says 2 points. I would you double that. That'd be 4. I think we're probably talking a touchdown to 10 points, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, and when you're having a lot of these, I mean, you're within a touchdown, and a lot of these Conference USA games, even when Sam Houston was 3-9 a couple of years ago, every game was a touchdown game, and that's the way a lot of them are in Conference USA. And it's just, can you win the 50-50 games? And I think there's going to be a lot of 50-50 games. There were a couple last year. I think there's going to be a lot more, and it's just a matter of, can you finish?
Another thing to take into account that I think people fail to realize are these weekday games. It's different. They're a lot closer for Conference USA.
Yeah.
They really are. That it does make a difference at Florida Internet. And I think it's because there's a spotlight on this conference in the middle of the week.
There is, yeah. And I think it's going to be a pretty good league this year. I mean, 5 or 6 teams making a bowl game.
That spotlight makes a difference, in my opinion, because if you're just playing on Saturday with everybody else, you kind of feel like you're lost. But when you're on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you're the national TV game, there's a little more impetus to really work and try to win that game, in my opinion.
Yeah, national spotlight brings only good attention, and it can bring bad attention too.
Oh yeah, no, if you're not good at FIU, or if you're like Sonny Cumbie trying to call, timeouts or whatever he tries to do at Florida International, I would say that's a 15, 7.5. I don't know. Look, Florida International is a team that I could see being much better than people think as well, because Willie Simmons is a great coach.
And what he did with them last year was impressive, yeah.
And I think people are kind of building off of that. So if you look at this, do you see 5, 6 bowl teams out of Conference USA?
I mean, 5 for sure. I don't know about 6, but I could definitely see 5.
That seems like a lot, because it feels like when you start to get to that number, you're going to get a lot of beating up on each other.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be one team really run away with it this year.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think we're up for a pretty good season. It will be fun to watch, and that is a fun conversation that I'm sure we will continue throughout the offseason before we get into athletic year 26, 27. What the heck is happening? Where's the time going?
I know, it's flying.
We're going to go around the farm next. We've got some financials to talk. We got men's and women's basketball recruiting to talk. And we got some awards that were given out by Conference USA to talk about. All of that after this final word from our friends at Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing is locally owned and dedicated to giving back to the community by supporting local organizations and charities. They are also the winner of Next Door's Neighborhood Faves for 2 consecutive years. And as you know, if you've listened to this podcast, Eternal Roofing is your choice for Christmas lights. They provide premium lights tailored to fit your home, season-long maintenance, and hassle-free removal. Kyle Tatum said, "They're very professional and great quality, on time and clean, and really made me feel like they cared for me and my home." Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Good. My mic was going in and out during the promo.
Yeah, I heard you. I hear you.
So let's make sure this works. Around the farm, let's go pretty quick through some of this because there is a part I really do want to spend a few minutes talking about. First off, Cashy Nat, men's basketball. He's working out for NBA teams, Ben.
Yeah, 4 teams. He's been projected in a few mock drafts. I mean, he's got a chance to be the first guy drafted since '86, and if he does, he'd be the highest drafted player in school history.
That would be impressive. And here in about 9 minutes, Malik Giuseppe Kitson hope I said his name right, is going to make his commitment. Sam Houston is among the teams he's visited. There were other Conference USA teams as well. He's 6'7". He's a wing player. He averaged 17 points, 6.3 boards, 2.7 assists, and 1.1 steals, 0.4 blocks. In the NPA, that's Canada, by the way, the National Preparatory Association, which is the top tier Canadian league for players with college and pro aspirations. What else do you know about him, Ben?
Yeah, 6'7", really good frame, about 210, 215, can do a little bit of everything. Went to the same high school as Matt. I'm back.
No, I apologize there. I started a video not realizing it had the sound.
No, you're good. But yeah, same high school as Matt Dan. They didn't play together because they were on two different teams last year. It'll be an exciting it'll be good. I just expect some good news, but can do a little bit of everything. Will be the third high school player if he does commit to Sam Houston in this class. I think he's a guy that maybe doesn't play a huge role next year, but he's a guy that could come in and give you some spot minutes off the bench as a freshman.
Yeah, I think he's more of a he'd be a development player, a guy that you'd see probably maybe a little more sophomore, junior year. His 3-point shooting needs a little bit of help.
Yeah, he can shoot it a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah,
can get to the rim.
Yeah, hey, he gets to the rim a lot. The video that I had that was playing sound, and so we didn't get to see it. He gets to the rim a lot. Yeah. very, and that's even in those advanced tournaments that he was in as well. Women's basketball added a player, Taylor Spencer from Blinn. She averaged 9.7 points, 5.7 boards, 3.2 assists, 1.1 steals in 29 starts, 26.3 minutes per game last year. Sounds kind of like a player that fits into the system at Sam Houston.
Yeah, needed a ball handler. Sounds like she's going to be in the mix for that point guard position. Dished it well, could score, rebound it. Played for a decent Blinn team last year from the area, from Cleveland High School, so a local kid. So you're up to 4 transfer additions. You're bringing back Esther Rodayar, and then you've got Amaya Hall from Summer Creek High School. So the roster's about halfway there now. You're up to 6 at this point.
Well, that's a start. Also, this last week, they extended the Under Armour contract for athletic apparel and equipment through June 30th, 2031. Not to exceed amount increased from $3.5 million to $4.2 million. The source of funding is institutional funds. All right, I need help here, Ben. What is the not to exceed amount, and what is the institutional funds being used to fund this?
Yeah, so the not to exceed amount. So I went back and looked at the contract that was going through 2029. You were getting $155,000 a year in equipment and apparel given to you for free, and then you had the opportunity to buy, I believe it was $300,000 or $400,000 of equipment and uniforms and apparel a year. So when you add all that up over the course of how many years, it was 3.5. Now it's out to 4.2 million, and my understanding is you extended it 2 years, so that's $700,000 additional dollars. So maybe you have, so that's my thought.
Does that mean they don't spend more than 4.2 million?
I think that's over the course of the contract, which is still ongoing. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, so they can spend up to the 4.2 million throughout the course of that contract. And then the institutional funds, I mean, the money's just coming from the athletic department, from the institution. It's not coming from TSUS bonds. You know, the funding is going to come directly from the school.
We got some on TSUS bonds in a minute. General Sam said, not going to lie, disappointed in women's basketball recruiting. I'm going to say let's hold on that for right now, General Sam, and see how it shapes out before we really kind of put a bow on this recruiting season.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, you are pretty deep into the portal window at this point. I mean, you're almost into the summer where, like I know football's coming back May 27th. Their guys are coming back. And, you know, typically the other sports will come back around that times for the summer semester. So, I mean, you've got 2 more weeks to fill out the rest of the roster. There's really been no high impact, like immediate impact player you can see. So I get both points. You know, roster's only halfway done, but you are kind of pushing up against a summer deadline where you want to have your team there.
Yeah, no, I can understand it. That's something we'll discuss probably in a week or two. TSUS board updates Texas State University system capital improvement program for a track and field complex. Is it going to happen?
Well, it looks like you got the money for it. And that along with the site were the two things you were waiting on. The site is still TBD, but it does look like you'll have the TSUS bonds in 2027 for $4 million. We just got to figure out a site and move on this thing as soon as possible. But it was good to see some sort of funding or momentum secured. But you still got to follow through on it in 2027.
And some other financials. And this I find interesting. Sam Herder over at FCS Hero Sports put out a list of payouts from FBS to FCS schools. Sam Houston is paying $325,000 to Nick. And that said to me, what's it like? What is that? That doesn't tell me anything, right? Like that's a lot of money, right? $325,000 to me. If you give it to me, I'm going to be happy. But in comparison, what is it? So I pulled only Conference USA schools, what they're paying FCS schools this year. La Tech, I know they're not current, but La Tech is paying Northwestern State $400,000. Mercyhurst is going to get $360,000 to play New Mexico State. Mercyhurst is going to get $325,000 to play at Western Kentucky. Murray State gets $350,000 to play at Middle Tennessee, and Eastern Kentucky's getting $325,000. So it sounds like Sam Houston's pretty much paying the going rate.
Yeah, which is good. You didn't want to have to overpay for a game like that, and $325,000 is not bad in the grand scheme of things. I mean, some of the upper G5, G6 programs are having to pay $500,000-$600,000. So, I mean, $325,000 is not bad at all. I was happy to see that was the number and it wasn't $400,000 or $500,000.
Very much so. I'm going to push this part. We were going to talk about generated revenue. Matt Brown, Extra Points, put out an email last week, I believe it was. Generated revenue percentage that they raise, basically ticket sales, media rights, bowl revenue, conferences, all that stuff. It's a lot of stuff put into that. And then how much of the rest of it's funded by student fees, things of that nature. And I pulled all Conference USA data. I'm going to push that to next week because we're getting short on time here. But I do want to hit up on women's golf. They had all Conference USA teams released this week. Amelia Guo is first team all Conference USA. Isabel Hurion and Francesca Sumcod were second team all CUSA selections. That's not bad considering the season they had.
Yeah, it was a really good end to the season. And I mean, Amelia Guo, Frankie, I mean, there's some good pieces that could come back next year, and it's a good recruiting class coming in on the women's side. So some optimism there going into next year.
I'm extremely excited to push this generated revenue because that's going to be a good talking point next week.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty much a whole segment, I think, next week. Where does Sam Houston rank among Conference USA schools when it comes to generating revenue?
Well, and it's probably not where it needs to be, but it's gone up a lot, and that's why the budget for next year is $35 million instead of about $27 million, just because of the revenue generating streams that are starting to come in.
We love to talk about other people's money, which in this case is Sam Houston's.
Yes.
That's a wrap for this week's episode of March to the Pod, presented by Eternal Roofing. Join us next week. We're going to talk some more financial stuff, that generated revenue segment. I think it's going to be pretty interesting for a lot of you Cats faithful. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be back next week. More Bearcat athletics coverage. Until then, Ben, take us home.
Eat 'em up, Cats. Beat the Bulldogs, and let's go get a commitment here in probably just a minute.
Always spend other people's money.